All right, here we go. It is the nightcap right here on BearcatJournal.com. Brought to you as always by our good friends at Galactic Fried Chicken. They will be back in action on January 4th. So make sure you save up and get your Galactic Fried Chicken fix ready to go as when they return next week. Oh, I trying to compose myself a little bit, Aaron.
Man,
That got me.
yeah.
Appreciate Coach Miller for shouting us out and thinking about us in the post-game press conference, and then some love from the Bearcat and the cheerleading squad with a message for Kelly. Means a lot, man. Means a lot. And for an update, she's kicking ass. So,
well, that's a win, and so was the Bearcats game tonight as they took on the Tulane Green Wave. As opposed to the football team, the basketball team did what needed to be done to get the win at home. As the Bearcats win 88-77 as your final. And we haven't done a nightcap the last couple of nights, so we thought we'd kick it live tonight just to try and see if we can hit $1,000 this month just for shits and giggles. And B, just because we felt we owed you guys. It's been a rough go of trying to find content this week. That coupled with just shit going on, and with the holidays and with Chad's life and a baby here. It's just been kids on Christmas break. Like, it's been a tough schedule for everyone.
And I mean, if we're being honest, my mind wasn't exactly in the right place the past couple nights. There was a lot going on.
I tried to give plenty of outs without going there. So
I know. I'm you know how I am. I'm honest with the people. Like I would not have. It would not have been an entertaining nightcap because you saw me Tuesday night after. Well, you've seen me all 3 nights this week.
I was going to say Sunday night, Monday night,
Tuesday night, Wednesday night. I wasn't in a great mood. Like I got through it, but but things are doing good. Kelly is doing really well. The transplant was yesterday. She was up and walking around and eating Indian food and enjoying some naan bread and having a good time.
So I forgot to tell you, I had an Indian this week as well.
Did you?
I had ordered it before you even mentioned it. I think we may have even ordered it the same night. That said, what's her go-to dish? I was just curious.
She does sag. She likes the spinach dish.
The spinach is fire. We did that. We did some tikka masala and some curry, and just make a mess on your plate with all of it. But
she does the sag, and then she puts the basmati rice in it, mixes it all up, and then puts it in the naan bread.
Yeah,
tears off strips of the naan bread and eats it like a.
I like to dip. I'm a dipper with the naan, but
pad thai is not Indian. It's Thai.
Oh God.
Oh man. Anyhow, let's get my shit together. 88-77. They jumped out big early. Look, that is a good Tulane team. And that is a Tulane team that can really score. They've got a shit ton of firepower across the board offensively. They play the matchup zone, so they can frustrate you at times. Defensively,
they don't rebound well.
They do not. They're not. They don't have a lot of size, and when you play that matchup zone and you don't have a lot of size, rebounding is going to be a problem for them. I thought in the first half, Cincinnati did a really good job punishing them for it. It was 22-11 in the first half. Then in the second half, Tulane actually won the rebounding battle 20-16. So it wasn't nearly as sharp in the second half as it was in the first half. So, but starting from the top down, they jumped on him quick. They made shots. They were efficient. They were moving the ball. They had 20 assists on 31 made baskets, which for this team is pretty strong.
That's a very high efficiency number for them. Absolutely.
There wasn't a lot of play in isolation. They didn't get stuck. They didn't get stuck trying to shoot over the zone for the most part. We'll get to what everybody, I'm sure, wants to.
Oh, it's all over the comments here.
I know.
The good, not the ugly. They're just talking about.
Micah had his best. Well, I'm going to talk about the other thing that everybody was.
We'll get to
that. I do think that Micah had, if it wasn't his best game as a Bearcat, it was certainly in the top 3.
He looked confident as I can remember.
Yeah. I mean, they clearly had decided we are focusing on Landers. We are focusing on Dave. And Micah was given the opportunity to step up and be a primary guy. Vic really, wasn't scoring a ton up until later in the game when it was crucial at the line. And they needed somebody next to Nolly that was going to carry this team because, again, Tulane's going to score. Like, they started out slow, but they're going to score. And they needed somebody to keep that pace up. And Micah was just at 6 assists as well. He
7 of 8
moving, 7 of 8 from the floor. He hit a couple big threes. Like he was exceptional.
He only had the 1 3 from the corner. But yeah. I don't know if the best play he had was when he went. I don't know if it was coast to coast or if he went from the top of the key, where he had a layup. I believe he took it right side with his left hand. And then he had a reverse underneath on the other side on the court in the second half. That reverse was about as good a play as I can remember. Not fancy. He could have gone fancy, and he didn't. It was just
he could have did what he did last year and tried this shit.
None of that.
Instead, boom, other side of the rim, laid it up and in. He's playing with confidence. You can tell he is growing in his role. I'm telling you this, Aaron. I am convinced the intensity that David DeJulius is playing with on the defensive end is spreading throughout this team.
I agree. Tonight was an exceptional night defensively for.
He did it in the second half against Soli Boom. He did it against Antoine Davis. He did it tonight against Jalen Cook. Like, explosive guards.
Jalen Cook was super frustrated.
Yeah. And he kept getting him he kept chicken winging him, and Dave kept drawing the contact, baited him into a couple fouls. He fouls out with 5.5 minutes left.
Can we talk about that play? Because Dave threw himself from the free throw line to the baseline.
Yeah.
He flew. I've never seen anyone on a forearm shove fly. I thought he was on wires.
Yeah. See, and here's the thing, John. Here's the thing that, sure, we would love to get that out of Micah Adams-Woods every night. The important part is right now you don't have to, right? Like, this is a night where Dave was off. Jeremiah couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. And the opportunity presented itself for him to step up. What happens when you start to get into this flow like this offensively is guys have trust in, it might not be my night, but somebody's going to pick it up. Somebody's going to pick me up. And when's the last time, Aaron, do you think they played well offensively in the second half?
No.
They shot 43% from the floor, 27% from 3, 12 fouls. They had 6 turnovers. They weren't bad offensively.
They weren't good.
But they weren't good. And they scored 43 points
in the
second half.
They did enough to win.
But they scored 43 points.
Which obviously
in the second half.
It's certainly not what we saw against the team on the other side of the river. But yeah, I mean, again,
these 40-point halves are becoming regular.
Well, what's crazy to me is Landers Nolly goes for 23 tonight. Do you feel like it was a quiet 23? Because I felt like it was a quiet 23.
No, because I thought it was pretty loud early. Right? Like he had 14 at halftime.
So maybe
and those were critical in building that 17-point lead. It was quiet in the second half. He was efficient in this, like the second half, he just kind of added on a little bit here, a little sprinkle here, a little drip there, to where he got up to 23. It didn't feel like I know what you're saying. Didn't feel like he had 9 points in the second half.
No. I mean,
but he did.
And I guess I was a little distracted in the first half as, Rachel was getting home. We were doing dinner and getting baby to bed and all of that. But I'm still watching. I mean, it just...
Yeah. No, I mean, he was critical in building that 17-point lead. I mean, he was 4 of his first 5 from 3. He was really the guy that was giving him their offensive punch. I think he does slash and drive plenty. He just pulls up for mid-range.
I was actually going to disagree with this, and I agree with one thing that this might be the only thing that I agree with anything that the commentator said tonight on the telecast. But they said that he's moving as slow as they can remember and letting the game come to him rather than like just forcing all over the place. And yes. Yeah. And I think that right now he's in a pretty good groove where he'll, pump fake and go in for a little bunny or make somebody foul. I thought the foul that he got was stupid towards the end of the game where he jumps back into a guy who's jumping over him. The whole sequence was stupid. The foul being called on that is stupid. Just no call that one. You don't have to call a foul every time. But no call.
It was exactly what the announcer said, which makes it even more bullshit that the official wanted to be like, nah, bro. Nah, I gotcha. Get out of here.
The officials tonight.
Did you see what I posted?
Garbage.
Did you see what I posted about the guy that made all the bad calls?
No. Which guy was it? Was it the guy that Ron went
bald guy, Anthony
forehead,
Jordan?
The guy that Ron went forehead to forehead with? Because any other coach does that, you're ejected out of the fucking game.
Okay, so get this. In 2019, he was suspended by the SEC after a questionable Tennessee LSU game where a lot of calls kind of went in LSU's favor. And then a picture popped up of him holding up an LSU t-shirt. Where's Tulane located?
It's in NOLA.
So this is a guy that's been basically excommunicated from the SEC. And now he's working AAC games involving, and there were a couple people at the game that said he was very chummy with Tulane's players before the game as well.
Chad, can you imagine?
Ron Hunter grabbed him by the ears and
can you imagine any other coach doing that? Putting your forehead against a referee's forehead no, that was a flop, bro. That was a flop. Come on, man. You can't put your forehead on a referee's forehead like that.
Right. That's completely out of bounds.
It's
completely out of bounds.
It's inappropriate. As a coach, as a referee, there's no side that wins that argument. It's completely inappropriate.
And this is not just to say they were bad for UC. They were fucking bad.
Both sides.
Bad. They missed stuff that UC did. They missed stuff that Tulane did.
Yes.
They what they called was bad. What they didn't call was bad. That was a joke of a game, the way that game was officiated. Joke. 44 fouls in the game. There were 2 fouls called in the first 9 minutes of the game, Aaron. 2 fouls in the first 9 minutes.
You'll have to excuse me for missing the 10-2 beginning of the game because I was trying to figure out where the hell I had to watch this game from while there was a 24-point blowout going on in a women's game, Arkansas against LSU. What the hell are we doing, ESPN2? You had your allotted time. It's a 24-point blowout with 9 minutes left. Change the game.
People won't agree with me on this. I love TV Teddy. I think TV Teddy, if you know officiating, Teddy is actually an outstanding official. He just gets caught up in...
He's look at me, Louie.
Yeah. But in terms of him calling a game, he's very, very good.
Well,
Jim Burr used to be a good official. Unfortunately, Stu, Jim Burr died 8 years before he retired. There's somebody in the rafters, Weekend at Bernie with Jim Burr the last 8 years of his career.
What's the baseball guy, the guy that has a country album? He's also he's a pretty good umpire, but it's it's all about me. Like that's what TV Teddy reminds me of.
So back to the game.
Yes.
Mike Adams-Woods was outstanding.
Yes.
Definitely the player of the game. Even though Landers had the most points, I don't think anybody had more of an impact on that game offensively than Mike Adams-Woods.
Even though Vic put up his 5th double-double.
13 and 13. A lot of it was at the end where he stepped to the line and nailed free throws.
He did.
5 of 6 from the line.
Good night for him, especially as he's roughly 50% for, I think 47% for the year or something like that.
Something was off with his confidence early in the season because he's got good touch. He's a good free throw shooter. And he did miss a bunch of shots around the rim that he normally has no problem.
He said in a presser he was going to fix it. He's fixed it.
Yeah. He did miss a couple easy looks that he definitely those aren't typical Vic misses.
Well, if you want to talk about missed shots, do you want to talk about missed shots?
Yeah, it's nothing new. When he hunts shots, Jeremiah Davenport hurts this team.
He played roughly about 12 to 15 minutes more than I would have liked to see him play tonight.
The difference being, though, the first half he was a disaster, and then the second half, that falling transition 3 he shot where he was almost like this when the ball left his hands, like
that. I wasn't even as mad with his shot selection as I was about the turnover on the fast break that could have put you up 8, I think, at that point in time. You're struggling to find a rhythm.
I think he was.
I would have pulled him right then and there.
Yeah.
I would have pulled him right then and there.
Here's
That's not on your shot selection. That's on you making a terrible transition pass in a fast break situation.
Right after that, he got a charge. He dove on the ground for a loose ball, got a jump ball. Like, he made up for some of it in the second half when he stopped hunting shots. When he hunts shots, he's almost unplayable. And he has got to understand that and the thing is, I think when he starts hunting shots, that's when everything snowballs, because then I took a bad shot. I got to make up. I got, and then he's just a train wreck. When he just settles down, takes open threes, plays hard, and plays the game, he's a good piece to this team.
I have a theory.
Okay.
He had 4 assists, and I know that they're trying to get him to buy into the offense. Why he's a senior and we're still talking about him buying into the offense is beyond me, but that's where we are. But I think that he, in his head, tell me what you think about this. I think that he thinks that for every extra pass he makes, whether it's an assist or whether it's passing to the open guy, he thinks he can take a shot based on that one pass.
I mean, I think that's overthinking it some, but like the psychology of it, where you're headed, I don't think is wrong. Where he thinks like, okay, I did the right thing.
Right.
Like now
I've earned a shot.
Yeah, I've earned a shot. I'm gonna get one off. Is he the same way in practices? Not really. Like, he, for the most part, I think it's when the lights go on, especially at home or in big games, he feels like it's still the last 3 years, and he just blacks out to the fact that, guess what? This team's got a lot of offensive firepower. And if I just play within myself, it's going to be great. It's going to be like, I'm going to be a really, really important piece to this team. But when he just comes down, it does kind of remind me of season spiraling Cumberland, Thrifty Walrus. You're like, where Jaren just felt like the weight of the world was on his shoulders. and he just made plays that we hadn't seen the guy like make for 3 years. Now, Jeremiah, we've seen him take bad shots for 4 years. The main difference being in past years, he's made a lot of them. And this year, not so much.
I just want to see way less of Lil Yachty out there forcing threes. And if he can't figure it out, then he needs to take a walk to Poland.
The problem is with Newman out, and then you had Odie and Vic in foul trouble, both in the first half. There's not a lot of options. Like to play the 4, the big thing today, play Dan over Jeremiah. Well, Dan plays the 2, Jeremiah plays the 4. Like now, if you've got Newman in there, you can readjust things. Maybe you slide Landers down to the 4 for a little bit. Newman plays the 3, Skillings is at the 2. Then, the rotation is a little bit different. But with the way the rotation is right now, look, say what you will about JD. Right now, he's still a better option in large stretches than Hensley.
And Reed got into a little bit of foul trouble tonight, too.
Hunter, the answer to your question is yes. Is the problem the shots he's taking, or when he's taking the shots, it's at the absolute wrong time in the game? Yes.
All of the above. Reed got in a little bit of trouble, though. The double technical, I don't know what was said.
Dumber obviously. Than shit. You've met Josh Reed. There's no way Josh Reed was talking shit.
He said something that the ref didn't like.
No, it was the typical, like, 2 guys are tied up on the loose ball. Nobody wants to let go of it.
Let's talk about 2 guys being tied up on the loose ball. When Vic came down, 2 hands with a rebound, and one guy's got his arm stuck in there because Vic's pinned it to his body.
Yeah,
because he's reached in, and they call that a jump ball. What are we doing here, man?
I'm dead serious. Like, there needs to be an investigation on Anthony Jordan.
So many bad calls. Like, I can only imagine after watching tape how many complaints Wes files for this game.
Yeah.
I don't know that. I still don't know that I saw any evidence that DDJ's toe was on the line for a 3 versus a 2.
You could see space between his toe.
And they certainly didn't want to take a look at the video. If they did, it was like, oh, we saw 1 take, we're good.
Yeah. I remember a game 5 or 6 years ago, a Pat Adams game, where I felt like something was off. Like it just didn't make sense the way the game was called. I feel that way about tonight. Something was off about the way that game was officiated, start to finish.
43 fouls.
44. Only 55 made field goals.
It says 20 for Cincinnati, 23 for Tulane.
Are you looking at ESPN again?
No, I got stat broadcast.
You got stat broadcast up? Okay.
Yeah.
20, 23, 43, whatever. I maybe Dave was looking at ESPN.
Yeah, it's
and
right
had
there.
44. Yeah.
20 and 23.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just it was weird. But look, that's a good Tulane team, especially when they're healthy. That is a good Tulane team that I think is going to be right there battling with Cincinnati for 3rd and 4th place in the conference. You open conference play with a win over a team that is really, really good. It is by far their best win of the season.
If they play Tulane like that in Tulane, though, I don't think Cincinnati wins that game.
I mean, do we get a fairly officiated game?
Oh, it's the AAC, and we're on our last year in the conference.
So probably not.
You think any of them are going to be fairly called for Cincinnati? Come on, man. Cincinnati, I saw that, man. I didn't know.
I'm not answering it, but I'm going to laugh at it. I'll let you guys answer it. I'm not answering it, but I'm going to laugh at it.
I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
But, I mean, that was the frustrating part. Is that's 2 teams that want to get out and run and play
that weren't allowed to.
An aesthetically pleasing style of basketball. And that officiating crew was just like, nah, fam. No, we're not going to do it. We're not going to let you. which is bullshit.
Yeah.
And this is what I agree with, Hunter. I believe that JD has a very important role on this team. He just needs to understand that
it's not his team anymore.
Well, it's not even just that. He needs to understand that there are nights that he's going to be the guy, and that there are nights that he's not, and that's okay, right? Like, that's what he has to get into his brain. That, look, some nights it's going to be Dave's night. Some nights it's going to be Lander's night. Some nights Vic is going to dominate. Some nights JD is going to be a guy that's going to play a super important role in getting wins. It doesn't have to be every night, and he plays like he still thinks it's 2020, when if he didn't play really, really well, they were going to get blown out. That's not the case anymore. When he buys into that, he's fine. When he doesn't, woof. Woof. I mean, it's that simple.
It'll
be interesting when Newman gets back. It'll be interesting when Newman gets back.
I know that you don't get emotionally worked up during games anymore, largely because you're usually in attendance, especially when they're home. I was yelling at my TV. Largely when only one player was touching the ball, shooting the ball.
Yeah.
Turning over the ball.
See, here's the thing, Samuel. I don't think it's about number of shots. I think it's about shot selection. It is about, if you are taking good rhythm, the ball is moving.
And we have good passers on this team.
Right.
Like the shot that Micah Adams-Woods hits in the corner is because they made an extra pass where he was wide open. The shot DeJulius took in the corner was because they made an extra pass and he was wide open. Landers Nolly is a really good passer. Sometimes he gets a little too fancy with it, but he's a really good passer. Micah Adams-Woods might have had the pass of the game underneath the basket to I think it was to Vic. But we have good passers on this team. JD just needs to settle down and wait for the extra pass to come to him and then take the wide open catch and shoot, as opposed to this ISO ball bullshit that he does at times. I feel like at this point, he's one of the only ones who does it. DeJulius does it at times a little bit. Nolly does it at times a little bit, but I'm still more confident when the ball's in either of their hands than in JD's hands.
Yeah. I agree. I just, he wants, I do think it comes from a good place. It comes from a burning desire to win.
Yeah. He's got the fucking skyline and Bearcat eyes on his chest piece.
Yeah.
Yes, this city means everything to him. This team means everything to him. We get it. But if that's the case, then you got to slow your roll, fam.
You got to be part of the unit and not a guy that thinks that it's his responsibility to carry the load when it no longer is.
Hasn't been for about 2 years.
Well, and be one of the guys carrying the load, not one of the guys fighting against, what everybody else is trying to accomplish.
Swimming upstream instead of trying to row with everybody.
And look, I get the frustration. I get it 1,000%. I completely understand the frustration and where it comes from. Reminds me of Charlotte Hornets, Lance Stevenson. That's not a bad, when he left Indianapolis and was kind of out of place. The ball movement, that's all, that is going to be the thing for this team, Joe. The ball movement in the first half was unreal. Second half, it got better as the half went on. It was very stagnant early. When this team moves the ball, they are a very, very, very good offensive team. Very good. Welcome, Holly. Good to have you as always.
Glad to hear that it was a great atmosphere because they said there was only about 9,000 people. That the commentators mentioned it looked like.
I mean, look,
you're not going to get a huge draw for Tulane.
Students are gone.
Yeah.
You know, your 9 o'clock tip off. It's
on a weekday night.
Yeah. So, yeah. What else you want to talk about? What else you want to get to? Anything?
I'm trying to think if anything happened.
Dan. First half, Dan Skillings.
His dunk from the side.
The dunk from the side, the block into and one. Did you see that?
I must have missed that.
He blocked the three, took it the other way, laid it up, got fouled and one. Hit
nice.
The free throw. He's like Deion Sanders in a introductory press conference. I'm coming.
I know what I want to talk about. The foul where the guy lands. I feel like the bigs could do nothing right in the ref's eyes tonight. Like, it didn't matter that they weren't jumping. If they were jumping straight up, arms up. Vic at one point put himself almost in the fetal position and was landed on, and it was a foul on him under the roof.
He just was trying to get out of the way. What is he supposed to do? Not exist in that moment?
I don't know what he was supposed to do. No idea what he was supposed to have done.
Right.
He had no idea. He's been very good this season about controlling his emotions after fouls. he was not good.
Upset about that
he was not good tonight at controlling his emotions.
Well, two of them were just absolutely phantom.
I think that it was probably 3.
Okay. I won't argue with that.
Odie, same thing. Like, Odie was struggling, and Odie doesn't say shit, and you could see his temper growing in his internally, like his face. He was just like, okay, yep, okay.
Yeah. Is Kalu done? He's got to earn it. He's going to play. He's got to earn it in practice. He's got to get back in the good graces.
If Vic or Odie would have fouled out, he would have been probably seen some minutes.
Yeah.
But
this is also a game where, again, they play, even Cook, their 5 is kind of a perimeter player. So you really struggle playing Vic and Odie together in a situation like that, because that's asking a lot of them to have to be out on the perimeter guarding. And they're not, it's just not what you want to have 2 spots that a explosive offense like that can attack every time down the floor. So he's got to earn it. And right now, I mean, it doesn't look like it. Like, conference game number 1, he got 0 minutes. He never took his warm-up off.
Hensley didn't see many minutes either.
Yeah, I pull for Jarrett because he's an awesome kid, but he just hasn't been able to get things to slow down for him. You know?
Yeah, he logged 4 minutes.
Yeah. Zach Harvey, Bearcat man, I don't want to, I feel bad. Like, Zach Harvey's a kid that's been dealt a rough hand.
What might have been?
No, we should not look at Harvey yet. No.
Go to bed.
I thought he's a kid with a lot of promise and a lot of potential. That situation just
crazy family situation.
Yeah, just a family situation I wouldn't wish upon anyone, and it's not going to fix itself. So it's something, unfortunately, that he's always going to have to deal with. Any football developments? This is a basketball show, T-Win.
Looking ahead to Temple, what do you think this team has to do in order to get a win in 2023, day 1?
Have to show that they can sustain offensively what we have seen on the road. We've seen it in Maui in stretches. We saw it at home, but We have not seen it on the road. And that's going to be a question. This is a Temple team. I know they've had some injury issues. There's a lot of hope for this Temple squad as the season began. They have not put it all together, but they are another team that is really, really long. I think most everybody on their team is in that 6'6" to 6'8" range. So they're gonna pester you defensively. That is never a pretty game up there.
First true road game since November 16th.
Since the game we don't talk about.
Since November 16th.
Yeah. So get some offense going. Find a way to get into the 70s. I think it's unlikely you're going to get into the 80s in that place. Find a way to get into the 70s, and I like where this team is trending defensively. They're not all the way there yet, but they're so much better off than they were the first 3 weeks, month of the season. Like, it is night and day.
That's because Kalu isn't playing.
It's not just like, no, I'm not putting that strictly on him.
I know.
It's because somebody stepped up and said, I'm taking care of this shit. And that's David DeJulius, who has said, I'm putting forth the effort that we all need to put forth defensively. And that has raised the level of everybody else.
He is not afraid to sacrifice his body in the name of defense in any way, shape, or form.
No.
I like seeing how hyped he was on getting that turnover and just running down and screaming at the 17 students that were in attendance.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what they need to do to get things done on the road in Philly. Timeline on John yet? I mean, hopefully the end of January. I know that's what they're aiming for. It's just going to be a matter of how does it respond when he gets back out there? Do they have to, is there swelling? How is the day-to-day? That's always the most important part for a knee injury like that you're returning from. Everything is fine and dandy until you get out there and you start going through 2.5 hour practice or 2 hour practice. And then what does it look like the next day? I think the end of January would be optimistic, but not out of the realm of possibility. I would guess more probably early February, which, Newman's always going to be in great shape. That's a kid that's in great shape.
I always find it interesting when different telecasters than we're accustomed to listening to, or like a different broadcast team does something. And tonight we heard that it was a meniscus injury, where we hadn't heard that in any other telecast, to my knowledge, prior to tonight. But just, we knew it was a knee injury, but just
I said it was a meniscus back when it happened.
I don't recall. We do a lot of these shows, but
we do.
I try and remember what we talked about on air versus off air and all of that. But just thought that was a little interesting.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of times you get a national crew. They come in, they sit down with everybody.
They say
the information is new to them.
They say names correctly.
Thanks for letting us know, Ed. He's watching Raw from 1999.
I'm not sure he's sober. Just looking at the chat, I'm not sure.
All right. I mean, I don't want to go. There's so many people here.
Yeah, 77 people. It's a big show.
Yeah. We need like $100 in donations to hit our goal for the month. So if everybody donates like $3, we could get there.
$1.
$1
plus ads. We'd be good.
Everybody just donate $1 right now.
All right, I'm not going to sit and beg people for money, but
what else? Anything else you want to hit on? We've been gone for a couple nights, so
Jabari Taylor, obviously we knew he was gone, but he says he's entering his name into the NFL draft.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I don't believe there was anything else.
We haven't talked about Joe Huber a ton. We did on
welcome, John. Thanks for subscribing, John White.
Appreciate you, John White. There we go. Don't boo players. Bad taste all around. He's still busting his ass. I agree. This isn't a math pod. Well, I knew not everybody, Thrifty Walrus, would donate at $1. So I was trying to just hit on the people that might donate $3.
I had somebody tell me that they think it's okay to boo college players now because they're making NIL money.
Are you paying them the NIL money?
I mean, it depends. That's
what I'm saying. If you're paying them the NIL money, then I guess maybe you can. There's T-Win with the $1. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. If you've paid that guy NIL money, then maybe you got a little extra skin in the game. If you haven't donated to Cincy Reigns, maybe shut the hell up. Look, it's such a.
I guess because like in the NBA, you can be 19 years old and be a professional ball player at 19. So you got guys like
football. There's nothing happening in football right now. T-Win.
You got guys like Newman. I think Newman right now is like what 23.
Yeah.
So I mean that's older than half the NBA.
JD, thank you for the membership. Appreciate you. Hunter, thank you for the $4.99. Appreciate you. Awesome. I love you, Thrifty Walrus. I swear. One of these days, I'm going to figure out who you are. Thrifty Walrus says he thinks it's okay to boo college players because if he's in the stadium and drunk, he's making poor decisions. He's drunk and making poor decisions.
I think Thrifty Walrus should make one of those calendars that has like a different like one-liner on it for every day of the year.
All UC related one-liners.
Yeah, just tear it off. Just call it the Thrifty Walrus calendar and just tear one off every day.
Maybe we'll get Galactic to produce it and sell it at 513 shirts.
That's your goal for 2024 to come up with 365. Actually, 2024 might be a leap year. But yeah, so 366 sayings for that year.
I wouldn't do that to the Walrus. Ed wants to go to a game with Thrifty Walrus. T-Win. If you're old enough to die for your country and go to prison, you're old enough to get ridiculed.
If you can buy cigarettes, you can get booed at a basketball game.
The thing with JD, the hometown stuff is rough because that's, I'm telling you, it means more to that kid than anybody here will ever understand.
It's no different than the Ben Bryant stuff. The only difference is you just had somebody on the bench for Ben Bryant that you wanted to play as opposed to just booing a guy.
Henry says this team can go toe-to-toe with Houston and Memphis. They can absolutely go toe-to-toe with Memphis.
Offensively.
With Memphis?
With Memphis.
I can go toe-to-toe with Memphis. Houston.
We have a problem.
I see what you did there.
You're welcome.
I see what you did there. I need to actually...
Tobacco's 21. When did that happen?
Tobacco's 21?
I don't know. What state are you in, Hunter? I don't think that's real.
I don't either. Is it seriously?
I don't know.
Memphis came back. They were down to South Florida with like 6 minutes left in that game.
If Tobacco's 21, it's because of vape.
Could be. Happened 3 years ago. He said 4 years ago in Ohio. Really? Huh.
What?
I was completely unaware of that.
Twilight Zone. What the hell is going on here? You telling me you can be in the army, but you can't have a dip? What are we doing here? Oh,
Sandra, thank you.
That's Mom.
There you go. I was going to say that looks new. I was going to ask if they were related since we think everybody named Smith is related to you.
That's Mom. First time in the chat.
There you go, Mom. Do I have to give that directly to you? Is that $10 I have to send to you?
We'll talk.
We'll talk. That's a fair point, Thrifty Walrus. He said, we're unaware of it because we're old as dirt and it didn't affect your peers. That's fair. So apparently I do have to send that $10 to you, Aaron. And actually, I'm just going to send $9.99.
$9.99.
Long-time listener of Aaron, first-time subscriber. Oh, that's outstanding. That's outstanding. Hunter said, you can't get through the shit we go through without tobacco and caffeine and hate.
Unreal.
Oh, well, I'm glad we went live.
Yeah.
It was, I missed you guys.
Last minute decision.
Last minute. We were scheduled to record. We were just going to record and call it a night, but we decided to go live. But it is 12:45, and you got to get up.
Somehow there's still 750 of you knuckleheads in here.
Don't call us knuckleheads.
That's fine.
I'm sure. You got baby duty in the morning?
We're driving to go see mom.
That's right.
Tomorrow.
That's right. You are driving to go see mom tomorrow. Are you driving, or is the lady driving?
Probably me.
You got to get up and drive to a high.
She prefers I drive because out here in Athens, there's never traffic anywhere. Whatever time you leave to get anywhere in Athens, it's always the same amount of time. There's never traffic.
Yeah, Hunter, I guess, Hunter, you might have missed the beginning of the show. I saw the cheer team and mascot sign for Kelly, and then Wes Miller giving Kelly a shout out at the beginning of the press conference, like minutes before we went on the air, and Aaron had to run and do something, and he came back while that happened, and all of a sudden he came back, and I'm crying and
your whole face is swollen.
You're like, you all right?
More than it's normally swollen.
I'm like, yeah, I'm fine.
The hell's going on here?
Oh, that's outstanding. We do, guys. We appreciate all the love. Kelly is a badass. There's no two ways about that. Aaron's met her. He knows.
Mm-hmm. Tomorrow's Friday. We're usually off on Fridays, so unless anything goes down, I assume we'll be off tomorrow.
It's well, we'll see. Take your laptop, just in case.
Okay.
Hunter, $10. Appreciate you. I appreciate you. We'll see.
I was gonna say in the case that we do not, I don't know. I assume we're also not going to do anything on Saturday night.
That's why I said we might, if we can, we might do something tomorrow, because Saturday I would assume we'll probably not have anything. And I just feel bad that we've only done like one show this week. You know me. That's
more nights than Galactic Fried Chicken has been open this week.
I know. I just like to work. It's what I do. It's what takes my mind off of things. We'll figure it out. But maybe we'll have something tomorrow. Not sure.
I did want to say, if we don't end up back on this channel tomorrow night, I did want to say Happy New Year's to all of you knuckleheads who join us all the time. This has been a year unlike any other for this channel, for Bearcat Journal, for myself. Just never anticipated this channel growing the way that it has, and we have all of you to thank for that. So
we do.
Thanks for putting up with us and our bullshit. Cheers.
Is that how the kids do it?
I don't know.
All right. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. It's an awesome game tonight. Bearcats win 88-77. And we will see you when we see you, but it will be soon. This is the Nightcap. He's Aaron Smith. I'm Chad Brendel, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com.
Thanks, Mom. See ya!